Cypress Financial Group presents the Retirement Roundtable Podcast with John Scallan. Get more at cypressfinancial.net. Now, let's get to the show.
All right, John, I want to get to it. One of the big stories over the past couple of weeks has been Elon Musk and SpaceX. The IPO finally went public, biggest one we've seen in years. So before we get into the investing side of all of this, I mean, $75 billion in its debut. What is your honest reaction to SpaceX going public?
Well, my friend, you can't help but be impressed by what they pulled off, right? I mean, this guy is landing rockets back on the pad, standing straight up. He's reusing them. You know, he's talking about building all these data centers in space. You know, the real promise of Starlink is, sending up 30 and 40 satellites per day. I mean, when you think about what he is trying to do, it would truly revolutionize space. It would revolutionize energy. It would revolutionize defense. All this talk about, the Golden Dome having this stars full of satellites that can shoot down and protect the U.S. I mean, Starlink's getting internet to places that never even had a shot. And Mark, quite frankly, it's remarkable. Yeah. So I completely get it. I completely get the buzz. And, at the end of the day, this guy is the first trillionaire. It's even almost, hard to say.
From what it sounds like, John, you're pretty excited about this as well.
About what the company's done? Absolutely. But Mark, I think it's important to point out, here's the distinction that matters. I mean, being excited about what a company does and buying its stock on day one are two very different decisions. They don't have to travel together, Mark. I mean, I know we've got a clip here from a wealth manager on this. So before I get into the weeds, can you take us through Barry Ritholtz?
Yeah, this is from Barron's Roundtable, and he says,
historically, IPOs begin to underperform not long after the offering, and mega IPOs have a history of coming out of the box hot and then cooling off. There's no really earnings history. If you want to take a speculative gamble and roll the dice, go ahead. But, there's a reason why the S&P 500 said we're going to wait a year to admit this. Let's make sure that the company really is ready for prime time. It's always hard to tell at an IPO level.
All right, so John Scallan, break that down for me. Why is day one, and this isn't just for SpaceX, this is for like the stocks that are really making a lot of noise right now, or the IPOs. Day one, everybody is most excited about getting invested, getting involved. Why is that actually a tricky time to buy?
I mean, Mark, think about what's actually happening on day one. Enormous demand and only so many shares to go around. Big demand, tight supply, the price. And even in this specific situation, the price, it actually pops. I mean, it feels like the rocket's already lifting off, but that pop isn't the business doing anything, right? There's no earnings history yet. I mean, like Barry said, you're paying a hype price, not a value price.
Yes, but the price is high because everybody wants in. Isn't that a good sign?
Listen, man, I have some very smart people that have said to me numerous times, John, don't ever bet against Elon. I mean, it feels like it should be. But Mark, there's a mechanism that's underneath that most people never hear about, the lockup period. When a company goes public, the insiders, and, that's the employees, the early investors, they're locked out of selling for usually 90 to 180 days. So those first few months, supply held artificially tight, and that props the price up even more. Now, Mark, then the lockup lifts. Now, all these insiders can finally sell, and a wave of shares historically hit the market. I mean, that's often right when the price settles back down.
The excitement is highest when the price is least reliable. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, isn't it? I mean, and it's the same pattern with these, these big IPOs over and over, hot out of the gate, then cooling off once the hype fades and the insider selling starts. None of which means it's a bad company, okay? SpaceX might be a tremendous business for decades. It just means that the one-day price and the company's real long-term worth are really two separate things.
All right, so I want to talk to those who are genuinely excited about SpaceX or whatever the hot new IPO is. What's the rational way to go about it?
Patience, grasshopper, patience, right?
Yeah.
There's no prize for being first in the door. Let the hype cool. Let the lockup pass. Let the company report earnings a couple of times so you can actually look at it and ask, is there a real business here or is it just a great story? Mark, a lot of the best companies out there, they were a far better buy a year or two after they went public than on opening day. You're not missing the boat by waiting. Most of the time, waiting is the boat.
But for that adult close to or even in retirement, waiting, is that the best opportunity?
Mark, you want to add one more filter. I mean, if you want a little exposure to something speculative, that's completely fine. But it should be money you can genuinely afford to be wrong about, not the money your monthly income is dependent on. I mean, there's your living money and there's your risk money, and the whole discipline is never letting those two buckets get confused. Listen, enjoy it. It's genuinely exciting. It's exciting to watch this thing unfold. Just be patient on the timing and truly honest about which bucket this money is coming from. If you want to think that through for your own situation, that's a conversation worth having before you act. Pick up the phone, 504-732-1001. Remember, the first meeting is on us. It would be a privilege to meet you, to talk to you, and to help you get your arms around this would potentially be one of the greatest companies of all time.
Talking a little bit about risk in the market. Well, now let's talk a little income, John Scallan. Dave Ramsey, he stirred things up recently, and he came out and said the 4% withdrawal rule, the one that a lot of people use, a lot of advisors in the industry use, it is, and I quoting him, Dave Ramsey calls it stupid. He says it forces people to live on way less than they could, and they miss out on actually enjoying retirement. All right, what's your reaction to that?
Well, Mark, definitely a strong statement, even coming from, the incredible Dave Ramsey. Listen, I've got a lot of respect for this guy. He's helped a lot of people. In fact, he's helped millions of people get out of debt and take control of their money. That is real. That is gospel. And on his core point here, I don't think he's wrong. There are plenty of retirees who are really too worried, too timid with their money, who could comfortably spend more and enjoy themselves. And, Mark, they just don't. So I'm with him on the spirit of what he said.
I feel like there's a but coming, but however.
You know me well, my friend. Yes, there is a but. It's the math underneath his version that I would be careful with. I mean, the rest of that interview, his approach leans on the idea that you'll earn about 12% per year, pull 8% for income, and then reinvest the rest. And where that 12% comes from, well, you can find it. I mean, if you look at the very long run average of the stock market, you can get to a number like that. So it's not invented. To me, though, it's a little bit risky to build the plan on counting on a 12% return.
But if that number is real, John, why do you consider it risky?
Mark, again, we've talked about this so many times. I mean, the market just doesn't reach out and hand you a steady 12% every year like a paycheck. Look, 2022, the market's down, 20%, then up 22, up 24, up 25. I mean, the market, if it gives you 25, then it's down 18, up 9, down 30, and you're living year to year inside that mess, not on the smooth average. Mark, that 12% figure usually doesn't account for inflation eating up your purchasing power or taxes or fees. So the real number you keep is really lower than, that Dave Ramsey headline.
So, John, how does the team at Cypress Financial, how do y'all handle that when you're actually building out somebody's plan?
Yeah, great question. I mean, here's our discipline, and I think it's the most important thing that I'll say in this entire episode. When we build a long-term plan, even for a client's most aggressive bucket of money, we generally won't assume more than about 9%. And Mark, to be clear, that's not a ceiling on what the investments can do. It's a number that we plan around. Listen, as a rule, once you start assuming north of 10% in a long-term plan, this is my opinion, you're setting yourself up for a close call.
So why is that? Why is planning low actually what could be considered a less risky move?
Mark, think about which way you'd rather be wrong. If I plan conservatively, say 9%, and the market actually does better, man, fantastic. You've got a cushion. You've got extra. Life is good. But Mark, if I plan aggressively, building this whole model around 12% and it comes up short, well, now you're pulling income out of a plan that did not deliver, and there's no margin for error. That's how retirement quietly gets into trouble. So you plan for the worst and let the best be a happy surprise, not the other way around.
I want to thank you real quick, John Scallan, because you said now you're pulling income out of a plan. I thought you were going to say now you're pulling income out of... So I thought you were going to go a different direction there. So thank you for keeping it clean this weekend. But let me get back to it because it's all about the timing. And I guess the timing of these down years, all of that plays a factor as well.
Listen, that is gospel. I mean, enormously important. The timing, especially early on. A couple of bad years right when you start pulling income does far more damage than the same years would in the middle of your career or the middle of your retirement, because now you're selling to live on it. One more reason the assumption underneath the plan has to be relatively conservative.
Okay, so as we're talking about a different option than the 4% rule, which Dave Ramsey called stupid, it sounds like a possible solution could be just pull 4% instead of 8%. Take less.
Well, look, not really. And this is the part I really want people to hear, because it's where we go a different direction than, this whole debate. Honestly, we'd rather not lean on any of those withdrawal rules, Mark. Not 8%, not 4%, none of them, because look at what every one of those rules has in common. They've all got you pulling the money you live on straight out of a portfolio that can drop, 30% in a bad year. Everybody's arguing about what percentage to pull. The real question is this: where is that money coming from?
All right, John, so what would you do?
Well, we flip it around. First thing, we figure out your baseline, the must halves. I'm talking about mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, the things that have to get paid, whether the market is up or down. Then we build the plan so that the baseline is covered by guaranteed or really conservative sources, meaning your Social Security, that pension if you have one, conservative income vehicles, money that shows up no matter what the market did that year.
And the market portfolio, where does that all fit into this?
Mark, that's for growth. That's for extras. Listen, why did you retire? You didn't retire just to pay your bills. You retired to travel, the fun, the legacy for the kids, the time with the grandkids, the remodeling of the kitchen you've put up for so long. So now when the market has a rough year, and Mark, take this to the bank, it will have a rough year. Mm-hmm. It's disappointing. Maybe you skipped the big trip that year, but it's not dangerous. The lights stay on. Your essentials were never riding on the market in the first place. That's a whole different way to sleep at night than wondering if a down year means you can't pay your bills.
So Dave Ramsey, the 4% crowd, they're arguing about the dial. And John, you're saying check the wiring first.
Yeah, man, I think that's really well said, Mark. I mean, a really good way to put it, if I can be totally honest. I mean, let's get the baseline protected. And the whole withdrawal rate argument, it stops mattering. And by the way, then you can enjoy your money the way Dave wants you to, because you actually know what is safe to spend. Listen, for all of you out there, if you want to find out whether your essentials are truly covered or whether they're quietly just riding on the market without you realizing it, that's exactly what we'll show you. 504-732-1001. Let's get together, have a handshake, a cup of coffee, and a conversation about making sure your retirement is protected.
Speaking of conversations, this is the one, John, that nobody really wants to have. Warren Buffett is in his 90s now, and I've noticed that he talks a lot less about picking stocks and a lot more about legacy. He warned parents that if your kids first find out what's in your will after you're gone, well, then you've already made a mistake. Do you agree?
Mark, I do agree. I mean, 100%. And listen, this might be the most important thing that we'll talk about all day. I mean, honestly, because here's what I've seen over the years. The families that come apart after a parent passes, it's almost never about the money itself. It's usually, Mark, about the surprise.
When you say surprise, what do you mean by that?
Think about how it usually goes, right? Mom and dad pass away. The kids sit down with the attorney and they find out for the very first time how things were set up. And maybe it wasn't an even split the way they assumed.
Yeah.
One child got more. The house went somewhere they didn't expect. There's a gift to, let's say, a church or a charity that no one knew about. None of it might be wrong, Mark, but it's a shock. And now the people who are supposed to lean on each other over and throughout the grief, now they're suspicious of each other instead.
And unfortunately, mom and dad aren't there to explain the why and the how.
That's the heartbreak of it, my friend. The explanation passed away with them. So the kids are left to fill in the blanks themselves. And grief being what it is, they usually fill them in with the very worst possible version. Mom always loved you more, right?
Yeah.
The kind of, that kind of thing. And Mark, I've watched it. Good families, close families torn apart, stop speaking over a misunderstanding that one honest conversation truly could have prevented.
Yeah, but all right, let's peel back the curtain even more. Talking about your own death, sitting your kids down to talk money. That's an uncomfortable thing to do. I understand completely why people put it off.
Oh, do I too, Mark? I mean, it's one of the hardest conversations there is. And avoiding it, I mean, it feels like kindness, like you're sparing everyone the awkwardness. But here's the reframe that I would offer. The silence doesn't protect anyone. It feels like you're avoiding conflict, but really you're just handing that conflict to your children. And Mark, you're handing it to them to sort it out after you're gone at would potentially be the single hardest moment of their lives. There's no way to ask about it. A short, honest conversation now, along the lines of here is what we're doing and why. That's not the awkward thing. That is actually the gift that you give your children.
So we talk about it a lot here on the Retirement Roundtable. It's all powered by Cypress Financial. And when you're talking about estate, you're talking about legacy, it's more than just the assets.
Mark, the assets, they're the easy part, quite honestly. I mean, anyone can split up accounts on paper. It's the conversation, this real life-changing conversation that holds the family together. And that's a piece, of this that people don't expect us to be part of. But Mark, usually we are, right? We'll sit down with you, and if it helps, with your kids in the room, and make sure everyone understands the plan while you're still here to explain it in your own words. That's how you pass down more than money. You pass down peace. You pass down potentially keeping your family from, disintegrating at a very difficult time. If that's a conversation your family hasn't had yet, let us help you have it. 504-732-1001.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Cypress Financial Group. Cypress Financial Group is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Cypress Financial Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any reference to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Cypress Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Cypress Financial Group. This radio show is a paid placement.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. Please note it is not possible to invest directly into the S&P 500 index. This measure is provided solely as a gauge of overall market performance. Standard & Poor's, S&P, and S&P 500 are registered trademarks of Standard & Poor's Financial Services, LLC, S&P. The historical performance of the S&P 500 is not intended as an indication of its future performance and is not guaranteed.